Are you, as a digital services provider, responsible if your client is sued over accessibility? Let's run through a hypothetical. Let's say you're a website design service and you deliver a website to your client. The client likes the website, all is well. But then later, your client is sued. Allegedly, their website is not ADA compliant. And then the client comes back to you and is now blaming you, the website designer, because you didn't make their website accessible. If this scenario arises, we're going to look at the agreement. We're going to look at the contract. Is there a specific section or a clause that addresses accessibility/compliance? That's what we're going to look for. Is this a bargain for exchange? Was consideration a part of this? Was additional consideration, right? Because accessibility, as much as litigation has gone on for several years, it's still fairly new, and there are still pockets of people who are completely unaware of it or don't really pay attention to it. So we want to see if there was some specific consideration, because it is very much a special thing. It is an additional expense. It is something that people regularly source outside experts for help for. And it is something that many people don't have the skill, including website designers and website developers. They would have to go learn accessibility. And so it would come at a premium. What I'm getting at here is, was this bargained for? Was there additional money paid specifically for accessibility? And as I just said, this is something special. This is something separate. It's not something that's industry custom or standard. So let's think about a standard that comes implicit that you really wouldn't have to have a special section in the contract for. Let's think about a website. You tell someone you're going to build a website and you're going to host that website. And then when the client gets the website, its uptime is only, let's say, 80%. Well, then that would go against the industry custom. We don't need to spell out every last detail. If your uptime is only 80%, obviously nobody would want that. So that's really implicit in the contract because it is standard. But with accessibility, it is not yet standard. It may be one day in the future, but we're not here yet. So if it's not bargained for, then generally you, the service provider, should not be responsible for any accessibility problems that arise. Now, something else I have here on the whiteboard is we do have a number of marketers who are telling people all they need to do is install a widget and they will be ADA compliant, and that's the end of it. And then, of course, they're earning commissions on the back end as an affiliate. This scenario is quite popular. And then we might have a situation where there is liability because people are relying upon your expertise. You're telling them you know how to make their website accessible and ADA compliant. And if you do that and then the client is sued, then there is potential responsibility and the potential for indemnification there, because you have told someone that this is what they need to do. So this is a general scenario where there could be liability. And we have seen quite a few affiliate marketers that are telling people that all they need to do is install this widget. But going back to the contract, you as a digital service provider need to decide where you stand on accessibility. And I'm not saying whether or not you're for accessibility, but how you want to approach it organizationally or even individually if you're a sole proprietor. Do you want to make it a part of your service? You're going to want to have it inside your contract because this situation is coming up more and more often and it's not going away. And in fact, one day we will see this be addressed everywhere. Everyone will be addressing accessibility. But as this is still in the earlier stages, even though this has been going on for years, we're still in the earlier stages where this is starting to affect everybody. And so as people are grappling with this, you need to decide how you're going to approach it and how you're going to contract for it. You may decide to embrace accessibility altogether and say, look, this is something we're going to do. We're going to take advantage of it. We're going to be a first mover. We're going to make our deliverables accessible, our products accessible. We're going to get an accessibility conformance report. You might know of that as a VPAT. So we're going to just take this on, embrace accessibility, and go that route. You may also decide that, look, this isn't my skill set. This isn't my expertise. This is a lot of additional work. I'm not familiar with it. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't want that risk. And so in that case, you're going to want to accept it from your contract. You're going to want to address, we're not warranting that this is accessible. This is a separate service. We recommend XYZ provider, and then leave it at that, because then you can disclaim you're not accessible. We're telling you this isn't going to be accessible. We're telling you to go to somewhere else. And this way you can have some relief knowing that you've done what you can to disclaim any accessibility. And then you may also want to take a hybrid approach where you try to make your deliverables as accessible as possible, but you also disclaim that, hey, There might still be accessibility issues. We've done our best. We recommend these consultants, etc. So there are a number of considerations here as a digital services provider, and you're going to want to work through them and decide where you stand and how you want to approach this. If you need help with this, or if this is something where you'd like to, well, if you want to consult about it, of course, you can contact me, but I'm going to be creating a course on not only this, but just how to approach accessibility as a business owner, you could be a small business, you could be a larger company, whatever it is. I'm going to have a course on how to approach this, how to have language in your own internal policies, the different clauses that I would consider for contracts. I'm going to discuss all of that. And so the course is not yet ready, but what it is, it will be in the description. But generally today I've covered responsibility on the part of the provider, and generally, unless it is contemplated, unless it is a part of the contract, then the provider should not be responsible.